How do we start? Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to Twin Portals.
Hey,
you wonderful people.
Everyone's here. This is the first time in, I calculated it, 315 days.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That we've all been together. The last live recording was on March 1st.
Yeah.
So we decided now is as good a time as any to get back into it.
Perfect.
We did the final episode, and then we took a little time off because we had to all deal with the death of Larkwave Silver.
No, Lark.
And then we had to deal with real life worries. And I was able to squeeze out a couple of quick follow-up episodes with Matías and Justin. And I was getting ready to do some episodes with Beth and Kendra. And then the summer happened and all of that horribleness that I don't really want to go back into.
And no one wanted to be inside because it was like our one chance.
Right?
For real.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, most people had vacations of some type, willing or not. So we were trying to get outdoors and stay 6 feet away from every other person around. I kind of got into a dark place. I had a bunch of stuff going on. So that is why there were no episodes after whatever it was, May. It's just because my personal shit ended up taking over and I just wasn't really that interested in recording because I was either depressed or had too much other shit going on. So we are now going to try to get back into it. And we finally get to hear from Kendra and Beth and figure out what's been going on with their lives in the past 10 months.
Jeez.
So who wants to start? Who's got the least interesting story?
That's where you want to start?
I just picked something.
Mine
All
doesn't
right, whose name starts with...
Whose birthday
Let's go
is
alphabetical.
It's my birthday!
There we go. There's a good way to go. Beth, what's up?
What is up? Well, so it's my birthday. I'm 32. It's very exciting.
Woo.
I don't feel much different than 31. I figure that's supposed to start setting in sometime in the 30s where like various organs and joints start shutting down.
Uh-huh.
So I'm watching for that.
Can confirm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh god.
Oh, wow, that's an omen. It feels like nothing is going on, and a big piece of that is before all this, I was actively doing gigs and concerts and running around town with my accordion and bassoon like I did.
Like
and
in
now,
character or in real life?
No, Beth was doing that. No, before this, my mild-mannered alter ego self was a pit orchestra musician who did a buttload of gigs, and now I do not those things. So it's quiet. It's very strange. Not doing those things. We moved away from Duluth. We moved a couple hours south, so that my beloved could do his grad school, which is pretty cool, except he's doing theater grad school mostly online. So that's a wild ride.
And that was John,
Yep.
what was John's character's name again? I just listened to this episode.
Fail?
Thale?
Yeah.
Thale.
Fail rhymes with quail. Yep.
Thale, yes. Yes, that was John Brophy,
Yes.
who we killed off. We had a lot of deaths that episode.
Sorry, John.
He lived hard and
did.
died how he lived.
Yes.
And he's doing well too?
He is, yeah. So far, nobody has COVID, so that's great.
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
He just finished his first semester of grad school with a 4.0, and he's
Wow.
been great.
Nice.
Just ecstatic. He is. He's very sweet about it.
I'm not surprised at all. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess our hobbies here have been using the Traeger grill to smoke all manner of meats and fishes. But otherwise, we play a lot of music, play a lot of board games, and I have the music room converted into my office because I am still teaching as a middle and high school band and choir director at my tiny little school.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you managed to get all that done. You're still staying safe.
Yep.
All right. Let's go over to Kendra real quick. Kendra, what have you been doing since March of last year?
Since March of last year, well, I work for the University of Minnesota here in Duluth, and the president of the whole U system was really amazing because just right off from the bat, she took all of the situation really, really seriously. And so I've been working from home since March, since this
Wow.
all began. And my partner also works for UMD. And so he has also been working from home for months and months. But we also have a 3.5-year-old, and we've been lucky enough that Grandma still comes to get her during the school week. And so life, other than we rarely leave our house now that it's so cold outside, life hasn't changed too much day to day. My partner's living his best life, going to work in his pajamas.
Good.
And I've just been trying to find, creative opportunities over the last year. A lot of them moving to digital formats, so I'm doing all my creating like from my living room or
Mhm.
my dining room, including this. My office is in my dining room.
Mine
That-
too.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say, Matías has the same setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, teaching online has been interesting. Not probably as interesting as Beth.
Your students
to-
don't sing at you?
Yeah, no, I wish I could make that into an assignment.
Yes,
But,
please.
I teach writing, so it's actually been kind of. Usually, I have my students come meet with me in my office, and so it's been interesting to have kind of this barrier of the computer screen between us. But so actually, weirdly, like not a whole lot has changed, other than I really miss that in-person connection that you can get when
Mhm.
you're like. You can look your students in the eyes, and when you try to look your students in the eyes over Zoom, it just looks like you're not concentrating very much because it's because you can't look at the camera. So it looks like you're
Right.
not looking at them instead of looking at them.
Yep.
Do you guys
I'm
have like
surprised no one's invented like a teleprompter for webcams yet, where
Yeah.
you get the actual their projection screen right over your camera, so you can actually kind of have eye-to-eye contact.
That's
Oh,
brilliant.
That's what I've been doing is like propping up my camera like in the middle of my screen and like overlaying the window behind it, so I can't really see the people very much, but at least I know that I'm looking like at them more or
Mhm.
less.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a thing that you guys have done or tried to do or anything like that?
I
I'm-
use Zoom primarily, so
Mhm.
I usually try to put, if there's fewer people, I usually try to put them just like right under the camera
Yeah.
so that it vaguely looks like I'm at least looking up, even if I'm looking at them, because so much of teaching is gauging like the reactions of like, are they engaged, are they nodding along, or which usually they're not, because they sometimes forget that I can see them too, I think. So but yeah, that's one of the strategies I've been using is trying to put their faces right by where the camera is.
Yeah.
Ours is way
Do you require
more...
that your students have their cameras on? Like, is that a thing that you can say they have to do?
I think best practices is to not require it, but man, and so I usually don't unless I need to see their faces for a particular reason. But I think it's harder for them to concentrate if they have no accountability. It's harder for me to concentrate if I don't have any accountability.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know that I even can require it. I know there are professors that do, but a lot of times when I'm meeting with my students, I'm meeting with them one-on-one as well. So then I usually have them have their, like, they don't even ask. They just turn their monitor, what are they called? Cameras. They just turn their cameras on.
I had a remote learning class when I was in school because it was pathophysiology. The teacher was out of Texas for some reason, and this was at Lake Superior College. And I can absolutely confirm that if you don't have your camera on, nothing. I
Right.
played a whole lot of Borderlands during that show.
Oh, no.
during that class.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't care. She had this thing where she just wanted to show us horrific pictures of radiographic like horrorscapes, and I'm just like, no, this. If you're not going to quiz us on this, I'm not going to. Yeah, what's going on in Borderlands? Oh, look, Claptrap did something funny. That sort of thing, and. Even to this day, like if I'm in a Jackbox group with somebody or a Zoom group / Jackbox something else, and I don't have my camera on, it's because I'm doing something else. I'll actively be playing 2 games at once.
Yeah,
so make sure
answering
those
my
kids turn those cameras
email.
on. Yeah, right. Playing on my phone. What's going on Instagram? That sort of stuff. Well, cool. And we haven't really heard from Justin and Matías in a while either, so may as well see if anything's been happening in their lives.
I have a question for Beth and Kendra first, if that's okay.
Oh,
Scott.
yes, absolutely.
So
Please do.
both of you had shows canceled at the start of the pandemic. Beth, you were about to open your one woman show, and Kendra, you had a killer row in a musical that you just had opening weekend. How have you been? I mean, has that been weighing on your mind at all this year?
Well, absolutely.
But before you go, what's and Justin, you had the turrets up and everything. You're about to go into open spam lot, right?
Yeah. I was days away from opening, and it's been kind of a mix of emotions for me. So I'm kind of curious how you two have been dealing with it.
And Beth, we both had one weekend. Is that? And then
right. We had a preview, and we did get opening night.
Okay.
And then the theater shut down the next morning. Everything shut down. All theaters forever shut down the next morning. And I think, so at the time, our, the director of the company, Mary Fox, said, keep it in your head, keep it fresh, run your lines every day. We were expecting this would be a matter of weeks. We honestly thought this would be a short-term shutdown and that we would be performing it maybe a month out, at worst in the summer. And sometime in June or July, we hit that recognition of theater is shut down for at least a year. And I kind of made my peace with the show. So that was the decision that if we redo it, we're really going to have to rebuild it. Because it's a one-woman show. It's 80 minutes of just me on stage speaking. And if I lose my place, there's absolutely nobody to save me. So it had to be perfect, just word for word, line for line, perfect. And so it was really intense memorization, a lot of heavy research. I mean, Rachel Corey was an amazing but complicated person. And there's a lot of real life stuff that goes with it because it was such a controversial event. So that was really heavy. Go ahead.
I was just agreeing. You're like, oh my gosh, that sounds heady.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we had been working on that for a year, and then kind of let it go. And I think when theaters reopen, it's definitely something we'll do again. The nice thing is I spent a year drilling 80 minutes of material into my head. I don't think I'll ever really lose it.
Sure.
My brain really wanted memorization after that, so I threw myself into studying Greek, of all things. And so I've been aggressively studying Greek for 10 months in lieu of having a show to do.
Nothing which means you're also learning an entirely new alphabet.
I am. It's a wild ride. No, I've got 2 notebooks full, and I've almost finished the Duolingo course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I took ancient Greek
As
as a senior in high school at the U of M. It is the only class I have ever failed.
I believe it. There are so many things about this language where I'm like, but did you have to do it that way?
It's probably how non-native English speakers feel too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't understand that you could drop a course, so I was just like, well, I'm gonna stop going to that.
Oh no.
Yeah. I always talk to my freshmen every year. I'm like, I'm not suggesting you do withdraw. I just want you to know it's an option because I didn't.
Yep.
But yeah, ancient Greek. I think it's a beautiful language.
It is. I'm having a blast.
What drew you to that? Was that just an old, kind of old interest or something? I
love etymology. I absolutely adore it. And so my brain just eats this up like candy, that there's so many pieces of the English that we use where there are these little Easter eggs hidden in Greek. And I love codes. I love other alphabets. So it just satisfies a lot of places in my brain and keeps me from doom scrolling.
That's why I started doing Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
John and I went to Athens for my 30th, which was a wild ride. It's also really inexpensive to go to Greece right now. maybe don't go right now because there's a pandemic, but after that. So we also had that exposure, and it's worth it for the food alone.
Yes. Greece and Turkey. So
Yes.
Never been. I've never gone over the Atlantic.
Let's take a Twin Portals trip to the Mediterranean.
good. Yes. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
Yep.
See some theater in the original theaters.
Yes.
Oh my
I'll
God.
write for another grant.
Yes, please do.
Iraq
Well, we
travel
wanna
grant.
Yeah, but Matías, you have to then create a scenario where we're doing an adventure in that time place so that we can.
Done.
justify
You step
the
through a
whole
portal.
thing.
Amazing. You're in Greece.
Wow. Cool.
Roll for
You go
initiative.
to a bar.
Yeah.
We start a fight.
Kendra, are you have you found a place of peace for your lost show also, or how are you dealing with it?
Yeah, so we did that same thing where so I was in Matilda the musical, which was oh no, I might cry.
That's
oh,
Justin.
shoot.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
it came on the tail end of some tragedy in my own life, which
Yeah.
so it was kind of like a distraction and cathartic to be a part of that show. And we too thought that might come back again. But obviously, Matilda the musical features a lot of children, some of whom who are already a little old to play kindergartners, which you just kind of, it's theater, so you just, enjoy the magic. But so yeah, I think by the time we would be able to do that again, our Matilda will probably be 18.
Jeez.
So I don't
gosh.
see that production coming back again. But it was a lot of fun, and it was really cool to be able to work with both the upcoming youth that are just so enthusiastic, and to remember what it was like to come to a rehearsal, learn one thing, and then just have it like memorized the next day, which I do not have in me as much anymore, because I'm thinking about 1,000 other things, and they're thinking about the play. But yeah, so so many of the kids had my lines memorized before I did. I would like look around, and I'd be like, "Is it my line?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, I'll figure out what I'm supposed to say."
That's sweet.
But yeah, it was super fun working with the kids. But yeah, I think it was hard to let it go. We were going to be doing it something like 23 times. So even though we closed before our second weekend came up, I had already performed it like 8 times. Which is, as many shows as many performances as some other shows get total.
Sure. Yeah.
So I feel lucky in that regard. But yeah, I wish more people had been able to see it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same with Rachel
What about you,
Corey. I
Justin?
actually got to
I
see
know.
Rachel Corey, and I'm really glad of that.
I
I'm
missed
so
both of
glad you got
yours.
to see it.
I'm
I know. I
jealous.
was waiting to see Matilda until after Rachel Corey was done.
Yeah.
Justin, how long did you? When did you start your process for Spamalot then?
About a year earlier, so I'd been working on it for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for me, I think the thing that was difficult about it was that we never got to open. So we got right up to
Right.
it. We were
Oh.
days away from opening. We were in tech, rehearsing on the stage. The costumes were all, everything was done. But I never got to close that loop. So it's just like this open thing in my head. And
Yeah.
it's been, I don't know, it's been kind of, I have really weird, I don't know, I have really weird emotions about it. So hopefully we still get to do it. That's my understanding. The set is still there. The costumes have been moved into storage and the props and everything, but they haven't been disassembled. So maybe once we do theater again, there'll be a chance to finally complete this open loop that's been in my head now for coming on 2 years.
I feel like the tone and subject matter of that show, at least, is very appropriate for a post-quarantine
Yes.
experience.
All the, I
Yeah.
think all the plague jokes are going to land really well.
Oh my god.
Yes.
People are gonna need a good laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
so-
that thought of maybe Rachel Corey isn't the thing to open Because it's I mean, she
Give
has
people
some
some
comedic
time.
moments, but the one show we did of it, people came out too broken and sobbing to say anything.
Oh my god.
So
Oh my god.
maybe not that one.
We were rehearsing a show at Renegade that was also probably not appropriate for a post-quarantine world, called The Nether.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the Nether had started rehearsals already.
Yeah, we were keeping it
Yeah.
hush-hush for various reasons. But yeah, also a show about like the darkness of humanity and the ethics of a virtual world. So we've already had a year plus of that. It feels like lifetimes of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
Just seeing how dark and twisted living that virtual life can make people
Yeah.
and can lead.
It's a lot of it focuses on the isolation of it too, which is very, very.
Yeah, well, I was talking about real life.
Oh my god! Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
Yep.
do we really need to hear? I mean, yes, we do. We need to examine those things. Like, how can it take us to this? I don't know if it necessarily tries to answer that question. Like, how can it take us to that point? But yeah, the Nether. I was looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm.
It can sleep for a bit, I think.
Scott,
So,
I've noticed some some things in your social media posts about maybe a desire to get back and do some theater. You've taken a break from theater for a while. Are you feeling a pull back to the stage, or is it just that sort of assembly of people and friends and collaborative art?
I think it's just getting back to something I have. The last theater I did was in 2015, if you want to talk straight shows, which was Eastland. That was the
love
last
that one.
production. Yeah, that I was in. I auditioned for a few things, ended up saying nah, and then kind of ended up focusing more on doing work improv, and then I did a whole bunch of bingo hosting.
Oh,
So
right, yep.
I don't know about actually getting back into it quite so much. It depends. It's kind of the whole right place, right time, right show, right director, that sort of a thing. So, Matías and Justin, what have you guys been up to since March?
Oh, all sorts of wacky stuff. Mostly at home, mostly involving a 1-year-old baby and
Yeah.
Angela. I feel like
You're
everyone
getting
can
a
assume.
hunchback working at home now?
What?
Is what you said?
Huh?
You getting a hunchback working at home?
Yes, absolutely. Some days, at the end of the day, when I'm done working, I literally get up from my work desk, shuffle over 5 feet to my non-work desk, and sit back down and just carry on doom scrolling, as Beth put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a bad week for that.
It's nice me and Angela both work from home, so we each have a desk. She uses my computer, I use a work laptop, and we can kind of flip back and forth between taking care of the baby and working all day. That's and then all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock at night, 8:30 at night, and then we watch some YouTube, watch some Seth Meyers or something, read a book, play a video game, sleep, repeat. Suddenly 10 months later. Yeah.
How about you, Justin?
Were you going to say something, Kendra?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, there is, for me, I know, like, this sort of, like, having a young child, like, they don't care that it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
So your life has this, although that first year, everything's changing all of the time. So maybe it was gonna seem hectic to you either way, but like for me, it's just like life hasn't changed all that much because I still have to do her routine.
Sure.
Has her routine stayed pretty consistent over the last year for you?
Yeah, other
relatively?
than I used to take her on adventures all of the time, and
Yeah.
now we just do like adventures of the mind.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
of
weird. I
crafting.
mean, like, there has been a lot of change over the last year, and I kind of lose track of it in day to day, like week to week. With Eliza, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But after New Year's, Angela surprised me with a video that she'd made all year long without me realizing it, of like a second a day.
Oh yeah.
Of Eliza, and it was just like the sweetest gift I've ever received. It was so touching.
I could just.
Nice.
And then Matías picked himself off the floor from crying
Pretty
after
much.
he watched it.
Yeah, it was a
That's
mess. It was so
awesome.
sweet, and because so much did happen this year, but it all blends together when you just look back at it.
It does in your
Yeah.
sleep deprived haze.
Exactly. So that was a highlight for sure.
That's awesome. I've stayed pretty busy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Right after I write software for a living, and I do it mostly from home, and so I've continued to do that. We went full remote starting in February, actually, kind of early on the ball with that. I did a bunch of video this year. I shot a little short film early on in quarantine, just sort of experimenting with, can I cut 3 actors together who are never in the same space to make it seem like they are?
Mm-hmm.
I did a bunch of video work with the Playhouse, shooting what essentially wound up being about 20 short films that were kind of released together in 2 separate streaming events. Helped launch a couple internet businesses, working on a third. I don't know. I stay busy. I did a streaming performance thing of a fundraiser, which was like a murder mystery sort of thing over Zoom. That was
Oh yeah, that's right.
that was fun.
That was a good time.
How did that go?
It went really well, actually. I don't, Matías, you were involved too. What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty smooth. I don't know how it went for the folks that ran it, but I had a good time. It was really a relief to do some acting, even if it was over Zoom. Some
Yeah,
improv,
that was gonna be one of my questions. Is how have you guys been creating your satisfying your creative itch?
Yeah.
Justin, sounds like you've been
Yeah,
doing that really well.
yeah, a lot of short films and things. It feels like it's a requirement for me. Like I start to get really down if I don't have that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
How about the rest of y'all?
I did a radio show with Wise Fool,
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
and we did our traditional end of year Old Lang Synathon for the I can't even think of the full title. The
Holiday
Lollapalooza.
Spectacular Extravaganza Pageant.
That's the one.
I've only had to say that 1,000 times.
Says Kendra, one of the organizers.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it when you say it.
Yeah, we did a virtual. At first, we weren't thinking we would do the Holiday Spectacular, so this would have been the fourth annual. We didn't think we would want to try to replicate it virtually, and that was kind of like what we went into the idea with, is like the part of the wonderfulness of the Holiday Spectacular Extravaganza Pageant is being there in person and the joy of celebration and watching it all together and singing along. And so we're like, we can't really try to replicate that. So if we're going to go virtual, let's celebrate, kind of like Virtual Duluth does, the Facebook group. Let's celebrate the content that can be virtual in a really great way. So it's not about trying to replicate the HSEP experience. It's about doing what we can in a virtual world, and really embracing that. So that was fun to work on in December. Had an amazing team gathering, and Dan Stocky put it all together in a beautiful package. It was fun.
Yeah, that turned out really well. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. On my end, I haven't jumped into too much creative stuff, just kind of sporadically. Like one of the short videos that Justin filmed, I did this shadow puppet play, which was a lot of fun.
That was so great.
Thank you. It was really fun to make them. Did that fundraiser over Zoom, which was like an improv murder mystery thing. Mostly I've been diving into my day job, which is environmental engineering. Like I run this small, scrappy little office that does a lot of different work all around the North Shore and south towards Mora and Hinckley. And it's been a crazy year. Quarantine and grant funding being very up in the air. I don't know. I've been trying to keep things rolling as much as I can, of course, and that's been a lot of work in the daytime and in the nighttime. Hooray! So, yeah, that's it. That's been my creativity, figuring out how to be an engineer. I've been doing it. I've been officially a licensed engineer for about 2 years now, so still kind of navigating.
Nice. I'm kind of in the same boat. Twin Portals was basically my creative focus right about the time the pandemic ended. I wasn't really doing any shows or anything like that, and so just being in a few different D&D campaigns, and then performing in this, and then editing it down. And since we stopped doing it, it seems like my creative energy is going to my job as well, and it's a little bit different on my end. It's more of you would think of it as a stage management sort of a thing, figuring out the best way to lay out a operating room, how to best do a complicated, 5-person procedure with 3 people, that sort of a thing, like trying to streamline things, trying to make things go a little bit better at work. So for what I can, I've only been at the job for about 2 years, so it's weird to be looked at as someone who finds solutions to those problems, but that's kind of where I'm at now. So
Nice.
This year, right? This year is such a crucible for everyone, like in so many ways. Jeez.
Yeah. So as a stage manager, it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but maybe I am a little. I feel like stage managing prepares you for so much in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Like stage managers can do almost anything.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they're going to learn.
Yep.
that's the thing. It's just kind of like, okay, some people look at something and say, I don't know how to do it. I can't learn how to do it. I shouldn't have to do it. Those kinds of things. But stage managers either have to get it done, or figure out a way to get it done, or find somebody to get it done.
Yeah, delegate.
And once you start doing that, it's pretty easy. It's you start breaking down problems into their simplest forms, and then finding the easiest solutions for it.
Sick.
And that's my creative outlet.
Respect.
So yeah, I mean, it's great how you take those skills and you can apply them to other things.
Matías, you were about to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna ask you guys about Dungeons and Dragons stuff. If you want to talk about that.
Hey,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a little pivot that direction.
Sure. Yeah. Man, where do we begin, guys?
Who listened to the last episode?
Like
I did.
the interview with Justin, or
The live one?
The last live episode.
Oh, my heart.
I just listened to it again last night.
You want to know a secret? I haven't listened to it yet. I've been holding off until we start recording again, because I want to give myself that
Be
jolt.
fresh.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happens.
What? No.
Come back here and answer for your crimes.
Right.
The DM fudges the dice in the wrong direction.
Oh, I wish, but I don't.
So last year was the year I was a dungeon master for the first time,
Yeah.
exclusively for my 3.5-year-old.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
Nice.
Because
So you and Matías have the same skill set.
yeah. So yeah, it's been pretty fun because she told me she wanted to play D&D.
Oh my gosh.
Because a good friend got her some the 1, 2, 3s and ABCs of D&D, and she knows that that I play it and that her papa plays it. And so we got out the dice and we were playing games, and then eventually I realized that if I could just make a quest out of it, I could get her to do all of her bedtime things. So we had to go into an underground cave where she found a big pool of water she had to dive into, and that was when she took her bath. And then we had to sneak up past the ogres to get to her bedroom. And then she found a tool that would make her teeth glow in the dark. And that was how we got her teeth brushed. So that's where my D&D energies are, is making up scenarios to get my daughter to do things.
That is perfect.
So you use your powers for good, Matías uses his for evil. What do you mean?
Well, I think he's harkening back to that final episode.
Matías hasn't listened to it yet, so he doesn't know.
He doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, it's out of his hands.
I use my powers to tell stories. I'm not making judgment calls. That's
We're
up
gonna
to
find
you.
out that Matías dissociated that
Crazy
entire
player.
episode, and he truly doesn't know what happened.
You mean the episode where Thale met you guys and you went down to the Xanathar's land? That was a good
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, that's
I
the
thought.
one.
Yeah,
He found the goldfish.
yeah, that's
yeah.
the most iconic part of that episode.
Justin,
Definitely.
Yeah, if we go back into the next episode now and you're like, okay, you wake up from a dream, I'm just going to smack the shit out of you.
I've thought about that. I have like a whole pool of ideas right now of like where it could go next.
When did
so.
you start working on those? I mean, did you start like right, Monday, the day after we recorded?
With ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the night of.
As it was happening.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
how do we get out of this?
it's a never ending thing. If you have an active story going as a DM, at least.
Any inspiration from this past year?
Oh.
Well, so for the listeners, we put together some questions to chat about, and we haven't really touched on them yet. But one that Justin wrote was like, do we start where we left off, or do we start after like a year later, after a plague has ravaged Waterdeep, and pamphleteers for social change were beaten and imprisoned, and terrible things have happened, and there's a coup attempt. Not to get too thick into it, but I did think about that because I did use real life stuff sometimes in Twin Portals, but man, I don't know. It's supposed to be kind of escapism, right? I would rather not just retell a story that everyone's been actively grieving for a year now.
Yeah.
My tongue was firmly implanted in my cheek when I was typing that question out. I hope that is not where we go with it.
Yeah. But there are some elements. I mean, like there's the whole like, mind flare, brainwashing thing that we were dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's kind of seditious
It's gonna be
elements. in the
hard
city.
not to draw those parallels.
I was going to
For
say,
sure.
I think we just, as individuals, do a pretty good job of interjecting our, real life into our comments
Yeah.
just naturally. Just like, oh, yeah, totally. Like, oh, that's Zonald Zrump. Oh, I get it. That's,
No.
we just do that. We don't need to have it built for us. We're basically there.
He's not allowed on any social things. You can't say that name. He's been banned.
Yeah.
He got banned from Neopets.
Did he really?
No, it was a fake, but it was hilarious.
That classic neo-fascist hub, Neopets.
So Adam has created those stickers that say "Lark lives," and I gave one to the ultimate SWOJ fan, and he was like, "Is it true? Oh my gosh, is it true?" And I was like, I don't know. It's just wishful thinking at this point. It's a
Our ultimate
campaign.
SWOJ fan.
It's a
like the
campaign
Snyder
for it to
Cut.
be true.
Give us the episode where he lives at the end.
Gotta get there first, guys. If we get there.
Yeah, your requirement, Matías, is you need to get Justin back into the game in the first 7 minutes.
We should start that, Justin. We should record like a one-on-one episode of just like Lark alive and like not tell anyone, and then like release it out of the blue
Sort
one
of
night.
all the
Like it's the
passwords.
sort of
Oh my
Andy
gosh.
Kaufman thing that he's been doing. He's been alive and nobody knew it.
Surprise to everyone else.
Yeah.
I want a
exactly.
LARP one-off of like totally Gandalf falling into the abyss, battling the Balrog, whatever it
Yep.
was that Lark needed to battle. That's the one I want to see.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, like in the realm of death, whatever realm he goes to or something. There's some sort of like.
I feel like this is going to be an episode of Stargate SG-1. Because I'm rewatching that, and I'm pretty sure they
Was there
covered this.
Was there a Greek hero who worked their way out of the underworld? I know like Orpheus went down and came back.
No more Hades.
But was
for
there
you.
another story of someone who went down
Yeah,
there?
there's a number.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Did Theseus do it?
That's what I was thinking.
Sounds
Theseus for some reason.
familiar.
I like
I don't remember.
one of Justin's progeny has a theory that was actually just a doppelganger of Lark, and the real Lark is gonna pop out somewhere. I like that fan theory.
Yeah, if you pay really close attention to when he talks about the Rat Man versus
Right.
Stone Crooks, yeah, there's a sudden shift.
Yep.
It's very
I want to do it
suspicious.
like South Park handled Kenny, where he just walks into frame one time. Hey, guys. Hey.
Kenny, you're
After being
alive.
dead.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny. Hey, Lark.
Oh, guys, there's so many ways it could go.
Both Theseus and
Can't wait.
Hercules had to fight their way out of hell.
Okay.
Lark, which one are you?
Hey,
I think Lark would love to be either one of those, but is in truth neither.
right.
Probably an
The
Orpheus.
closer
Yeah.
to Orpheus.
Yeah, getting distracted on the way out. Totally.
Exactly. Turning around and being like, damn
Look
it.
back, what?
What's everybody been doing for fun?
Speaking of Hades,
Fires.
Yeah, no. Besides Hades.
we talk about that enough on Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord if you want to see Matías's fetish for Hades.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
Anybody
It's so good.
else?
Do you mean us, or our characters, us?
Us. I mean,
I've used
I feel like character stuff will come out in the episode. We can, once we actually start recording a thing, we can cover it. I want to know about Beth and Kendra and Justin and Matías.
when I first bought my home 5 years ago, my mom insisted that she purchase me a fire pit, and I was like, okay, sure, love it, thanks, Mom. And then I used it like 3 times. Actually, John Brophy was the first person to light a fire in my fire pit.
John will light a fire anywhere you let him.
And I have now used it probably at least once a week since the beginning of the summer, including all the way. Well, it's kind of, Adam is now like, it's too cold, and I'm like, that's the whole point, is we have a fire.
Does he know what comes out of the fire pit?
Almost once a week, right? Almost once a week since this all started, and so that's been kind of interesting. Spent New Year's Eve outside for 6 hours in a Minnesota winter. Something I can honestly say I've never done before and probably will never do again. But it was magical. It was magical. It snowed a little. So fire pits, that's what I've been doing for fun.
That sounds excellent.
Awesome.
I live with another pair of artistic performers, Corey and Embrys, and so just as a household, there's a lot of music making and board gaming, and then Minecrafting and World of Warcrafting in the nearby of each other, with everyone like talking out loud. And we used to do this just over Discord, so it's a wild ride sitting next to each other.
Cool.
A lot of baking. Some of my experiments work out super duper well. Other times my household is very gracious and eats them anyway.
Can't waste food. It's a pandemic.
Absolutely. And it's one of those, as long as you don't name what it was supposed to be up front, then they don't know. We have a recipe in our memory of the pomegranate fail cakes. And if I had just told people that they were supposed to be flat, hard little biscuits, a little bit sweet, I think, and that would have been fine. But unfortunately, I let slip that my goal was cupcakes. And they stared at And I've since learned all the alchemy of what went wrong in that process. But basically, you just need to crush up the pomegranate arils first. Because if you put them in, especially if you're doing gluten-free flour, it's like osmosis. They will suck everything around them into their little selves.
Yeah, water activity. I just learned about that this year.
Interesting.
Blueberries will do it too.
Yep, super fun. We also have a pair of cats, and they are endless entertainment. Una and Festus. They are internet stars. I run a group called How Absolute Dare that I thought would be just me and some friends sharing pictures of angry animals, and now it has 25,000 people and
Jeez.
fan art and t-shirts and merchandise, and it's like, what have I done?
It's so awesome.
That's the best.
But yeah, there's an artist who adopted us. Her name is Melissa Averinos out of Cape Cod, and she started doing these little portrait sketches of her favorite cats in the group. And then that took off and got made into cat lady leggings.
I saw that.
I guess that's my life now.
God, so awesome.
Well, so much for teaching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you have thought any of that would be in your future, like a year ago, 2 years ago?
No,
Oh my god.
I never wanted to be the manager of a massive group of angry animals. There are some parallels to being a middle school choir teacher, but no, I had no idea that social media could do this to itself.
Like I mentioned before, I made a lot of movies this year. That's been kind of a thing I've been doing on the side. During the summer, I kayaked a bunch. That was nice. A lot of board games in our house. We did start doing this thing early in the pandemic. My wife and I have some friends who have a radio. Like one is a radio DJ, and so he and his wife started doing this call-in show, and so we made it sort of this thing to do on Saturday nights where we would listen to the call-in show and then do a puzzle together. The call-in show eventually ended, but we just kept doing puzzles. So I'm not normally a puzzle person, but we've done some really fantastic puzzles, including this Kickstarted puzzle bunch that I backed. That are they're these sort of magic puzzles where they're these big elaborate landscapes, and each piece has something interesting on it. And then the puzzle itself has a sort of mystery that you're solving. And at the end of it, when you get the puzzle put together, it pulls apart and reconfigures into a different puzzle that there's an inside missing piece for. And then you open this secret envelope and do the final piece of the puzzle inside what had been the previous puzzle but is now reconfigured. It's really fantastic.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds so cool.
And that's what you have to do to come back to life.
Yeah.
Done. Check.
Welcome back. You've solved the puzzle.
Oh, nice.
The missing piece was the hat the whole time.
The secret piece was inside you the whole time.
Oh no.
We've been looking at playing more board games, me and my wife, Angela. Angela's never been a big board gamer, a big tabletop gamer. She likes like simple games, like card games and like gambling games.
Azul.
We've looked at Azul. We've been watching a lot of like Shut Up and Sit Down as a YouTube channel that Adam recommended to us, and it's been lovely. So we're just kind of like perusing all of the kind of entry level 2-player fun board games. Azul seems fun, but it seems like kind of cutthroat. So I don't know. Maybe we should check it out.
I don't like cutthroat
sure.
games, and I think it probably could be if you were playing with someone who's cutthroat. But I think, I prefer cooperative games, and I like Azul. If they want to sponsor us
Azul
now.
is
We play a pretty friendly
Azul's great.
game of Azul, but I just like the little clacky, colorful pieces.
Mm-hmm.
They're so satisfying.
Right.
Patchwork is another great 2-player
Yeah, we
game.
could lend that to you if you want.
That's gentle.
We were looking at Codenames Duets also, maybe.
That's a good one.
I haven't tried that one yet.
Yep.
I've got that. I played that for a while.
I know you were playing Ticket to Ride for a while, Scott. We were looking at that too.
Oh, yeah. And if you're going to do it, get the app. It's like a $2 app. You never have to deal with the little pieces anymore.
I like the pieces, though.
Well, then buy the game. Actually, I didn't even buy the game. Evan gave it to me. And I won't say where he got it on air. I'll tell you guys later.
Mysterious.
I know. I'm like, wow.
It's just something that can't be spoken.
I've got a...
You broke into a Toys R Us and stole it?
Like, what kind of illicit
re-gift it
Ticket
to
to
you?
Ride are you getting involved in,
I'll
Scott?
tell you off air.
my
My thing lately has been... I've just been buying board games, but they end up staying in the shrink. I just want to have them. I go through lists every so often. I read through them. I look at Shut Up, Sit Down, and I just, oh yeah, that looks good. I'll add that to my Amazon wishlist. And then every so often I'll do an Amazon purchase, and then let's add that to it. Well, why not? Even though I've got nobody around right away to play it with, and I only have a passing understanding of why I added it to my list in the first place. But I've got, I got archaeology. I got King Domino I picked up.
That's fun.
Because I heard good things about that one.
Do you open them and like touch the pieces at least, like kind of get a feel for it?
Nice.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like I'll play it, I might even pop the pieces out of the cardboard.
That's
print.
so satisfying.
That's me with Gloomhaven. I bought like Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion, and now I kickstarted Frosthaven.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool.
And like I did, and like I just touch the pieces. I'm like a goblin, like like I set them all up and I'm so happy, but I never play it. Never ever. I really want to.
That's the thing.
I
But,
did that in
yeah.
high school. I always wanted to play D&D in high school, but I was a cheerleader, and I know you'd think.
Couldn't.
Well, it's just like that was my way of like explaining like why I wasn't around people who were also could have maybe played with me. I think maybe people just didn't talk about it. I should have just asked. But I bring this up because I had the player handbooks. They were given to me by a cousin. And so I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And I went to B. Dalton, which I don't even think exists anymore, in the mall. And I got
I
the
remember that.
Dragonlance, like pre-built campaign stuff, I suppose. I didn't really even understand what it was at the time. I was just like, oh my God, it's Dragonlance. And I used to just take it out and like look at it and like touch the parts and reread all the different things. And so I never ever actually got to play it. It was probably around the time of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons when AD&D came out. But yeah, so yeah, I totally get the like, I'm just gonna like look at it and maybe someday someone will play this with me.
Hero Quest always had a great reputation
Loved
for
Hero Quest.
minis.
Loved
Still
it.
have it.
Yeah.
I still have it,
heard good
and it's getting rebooted now too.
Is it? That makes me happy. I spent
Yep, I heard it was getting started back up.
spent a lot of money on eBay getting a copy for a now ex-boyfriend once.
eBay. We got a giant lot of comic books off eBay. It was spectacular. It was the entire Sandman collection, most Preacher.
Oh, awesome! I love both
Just
of those.
this huge,
Wow.
huge box. I think I paid like $70 for all of it. But
For the full Sandman?
I
Holy
know.
smokes.
I know.
I think clearly someone
I
was
just
getting
wanted a
rid
couple
of
of them.
something that didn't
Right.
belong to them originally.
Yeah, it was somebody else's
Yeah.
things. Yep.
It's the worst feeling.
They're like, here's a lot of comic books. Somebody will want those.
I was just saying, I don't know, like Sandman is such like a strange and kind of subversive series. It kind of feels appropriate to like get it mysteriously through a
Right.
strange deal on eBay.
Unmarked cardboard box of comic
Yeah,
books.
exactly.
Yeah, it feels like it should be the last thing you read before the monsters come. It's like, oh, and here's
Yeah.
this. And by unearthing this, I've summoned something.
Yep. It's like Jumanji, like you find it and it has a heartbeat and you're like, oh, I guess I'll
This
play
is my
that.
life now.
Yeah.
I almost messaged you last night, Beth. I was thinking, what's the term for a trumpet when it does a series of really rapid ascending tones, like it to be maybe the beginning of a jazz solo or something?
Like a gliss? A glissando?
Yeah, then I remembered that it was glissando.
That's what I was gonna
I
guess.
deleted my message, but I was like seconds away from clicking send.
I am always happy to get dead of night random music trivia questions. Send me those all the time.
That's how your pandemic is going.
I'm cutting together this commercial for a mutual friend, Robert Lee, who played Mr. E on
That's right.
Mr.
on a
E!
Twin
Yeah,
Portals
yeah.
episode. He has a new business that I'm helping with, where he's from Louisiana, so he makes this amazing Cajun food. And so we're putting together a commercial for that, and there's a bit of New Orleans jazz that goes under it, but I needed that that trumpet sound, and trying to Google search for that when you don't know the term, when you can't remember the term, it was not super effective.
I would love to see your Google search history before you remembered what that word was.
Yeah, I was trying to describe it in every way that I could think of.
Trumpet, upward, toot, toot.
Deedly deedly.
Yeah.
Slide. No, that's the wrong kind of thing. Yeah.
Just so y'all are aware,
Did you read?
Go
ahead.
my window is soon closing. I think I hear signs of life.
Oh,
from
me
upstairs.
too. I literally just typed it. Yeah, I have to make lunch for my preschooler.
All right.
Bring us home, Scott.
That sounds like that's going to be the rip-roaring end of the show then.
Outstanding.
That's appropriate for this year.
That's good. Yeah.
It's less compelling than children, but my cat started sitting just out of arm's reach from me and pawing at stacks of paper, so that's a sign.
Perfect. Yeah. This is an experiment for me. I have not done this before. I don't know how well this is going to go. So I'm going to take 5 different sources of audio and try to put them together on my end and see what kind of product we get to release. And then hopefully we'll be meeting up figure out some technical kinks, and then start actually producing some content here again.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for making some time today.
Yay!
Hey,
Thank you for
guys,
hosting,
it's
so
Scott.
lovely
nice
to
hear
talk
from
to you all.
Yeah. I miss you all so
Miss
much.
your faces.
Oh my god.
All right, let's all say bye.
What? Do we have to go?
Bye.
Goodbye.
Twin Portals is produced and edited by Scott Hebert. The adventure is created by our Dungeon Master Matías Valero, and the rest of the Silver Waves of Justice are played by Kendra Carlson, Beth Brophy, and Justin Peck. If you're looking for some more podcasts to enjoy, give a follow to our friends at Horror Rewind, The Nearest Stars, and Take It With You. This activity is made possible in part by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Thank you to Leeland Campana for use of his song Avernum as our theme song. Thank you to the Renegade Theater Company, Teatricone, and Mary Fox for their support. We desperately hope to be back in that wonderful building soon. And thank you all so much for listening to Twin Portals.